Gratitude. The word itself feels soft, doesn't it? It feels like a greeting card, or it feels like something a yoga instructor tells you to have while you're holding a pose you hate. It feels passive. For the high-performing man, the executive, the founder, the operator, gratitude is often marketed as a sedative. They tell you, look on the bright side, or they tell you, be thankful for what you have. They tell you to write down 3 nice things in a journal before you go to sleep. I'm here to tell you that that version of gratitude is a lie. And if you're a man in a real crisis, if you're standing in the wreckage of a divorce or a business collapse or a medical diagnosis, that version of gratitude isn't just useless. It's insulting. Because when your world is on fire, you don't need a nice feeling. You need a fire extinguisher. Or, better yet, you need a weapon to fight your way out of the burning building. I'm not here today to tell you to be thankful. I'm here to introduce you to a different operating system entirely. I call this forged gratitude. This is not the soft gratitude of the civilian. This is the violent, offensive, and powerful weapon of the operator. It's the only tool capable of breaking the single heaviest chain that holds high performers down. Bitterness. We're going to talk about November 1st. We're going to talk about the day my world detonated. And we're going to break down the exact cognitive protocol that pulled me off my kitchen floor when anger failed me. This isn't a sermon. This is a tactical briefing on how to weaponize your pain. Let's look at the default setting of the human operating system. When a catastrophic failure occurs, a betrayal, a discard, a market crash, what's the immediate reflex? Bitterness. It's logical. It makes sense. You were betrayed by your brothers, or you were discarded by your partner, or your career turned to ash overnight. You're on the floor. And you have every right to be bitter. You have every right to be angry at them, at the world, even at God. The facts support your anger. The data supports your resentment. But here's the problem with bitterness. It's an inefficiency. In physics, bitterness is friction. It's energy utilized that produces no forward motion. And there's an old saying that bitterness is a poison you drink expecting the other person to die. But I want to take that and frame it in more executive terms. Bitterness is paying compound interest on a debt that the other person or party has already defaulted on. They're not paying. They moved on. They don't care. But you're waking up at 3 a.m., replaying the tape, paying the emotional tax over and over again. Bitterness keeps you anchored to the past. It keeps you in a state of reaction, and it makes you a permanent victim. I work with men running multi-million-dollar companies who are still emotionally enslaved by a business partner who screwed them 10 years ago. They have the money. They have the title. But they don't have freedom. Because every decision they make is a reaction to that decade-old wound. They're building defensive walls instead of empires. This is the prison. And it's the single heaviest chain that will keep you on that floor forever. You can't build a new life if your entire being is defined by the wreckage of the old one. You can't write new code if your operating system is dedicated to processing old errors. So how do we clear the cache? How do we stop the victim latency? We have to look at the source code. My favorite verse from the Bible, which I have tattooed on my right forearm as a constant reminder of this very journey, is Romans 12:2. Now, whether you're a man of faith or a strict materialist, I want you to listen to the mechanics of this statement because it's a perfect description of neuroplasticity. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Let's break this down. Conform to this world. What is the pattern of the world? What is the default setting? The default is reciprocity of pain. You hurt me, I hate you. You steal from me, I resent you. You break me, I stay broken. That is conformity. It's reacting exactly how the input dictates. It's being a machine that simply outputs what was input. Garbage in, garbage out. Trauma in, bitterness out. Now the override switch is transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is the pilot taking control of the plane. It says, I received trauma as an input, but I'm going to run a specific protocol, which is the renewing, to change the output. I had to learn that gratitude isn't a passive feeling. It's the action of renewing your mind. It's the mechanism of resurrection. It's the choice to stop conforming to the pattern of your pain and start the active, brutal work of forging a new mind. I spent months conformed to that pattern. I was a ghost haunting my own life. I was poisoned by resentment. I replayed every conversation, every betrayal, every red flag I missed. I was trapped. And the breakthrough never came when I got over it. You don't just get over the death of a life you built. The breakthrough came when I realized I had one final choice. I couldn't be grateful for the crisis because that would be masochistic. But I could be grateful for what the crisis revealed. That distinction is everything. This is where we leave the civilian definition of gratitude behind. Civilian gratitude says, I'm thankful for the sunshine. Forged gratitude says, I'm thankful the storm destroyed my shelter because it forced me to build a fortress. Let me give you the inventory of my own collapse. 2023, November 1st. The woman vanished. I talked about this in episode 11 of this podcast. The deal died. I talk about that in episode 13, I believe. The gym project imploded. And the betrayal, I couldn't be grateful for the betrayal itself. Betrayal is vile. But I was grateful that it taught me the shield wall was a myth. I realized I had been relying on other people to protect my flank instead of securing my own perimeter. I was grateful it forced me to forge my own shield. For the discard, I couldn't be grateful for that avoidant discard. It wrecked me. But I was grateful that it forced me to stop outsourcing my validation. I realized I had been using her love as a battery for my own self-worth. When she unplugged, I went dark. I was grateful it forced me to build my own generator and to build my own closure. Now the financial annihilation, again, I couldn't be grateful for losing 7 figures. But I was grateful it burned away a false identity. I realized I thought I was the deal. I thought I was the project. When those burned, I had to find out who was left. I was grateful it forced me to find my real identity. Excuse me. Do you see the pattern? Pain plus protocol equals asset. I was grateful for the proof that I could survive. I was grateful for the weakness that forced me to find my faith. I was grateful for the pain that forced me to forge a new man. This is forged gratitude. It's not a feeling. It's a tactical, clear-eyed recognition of the weaponry you are being given in the middle of the war. And when you look at your crisis through this lens, you stop being a victim. You become a scavenger. You look at the wreckage and say, there is usable steel in this scrap heap. I'm going to melt it down and forge my sword. Not ironically, part of my logo is the reforged sword for this exact reason. Because this is how you declare war on the victim mindset. So, how do we execute this? You're listening to this, and maybe you're currently in the fire. Your wife just filed. Your board just ousted you. Your diagnosis just came back positive. You don't feel very grateful right now. You feel the rage. Good. Use that rage to fuel the protocol. And this requires 3 steps every single day. This isn't a mindset. This is a daily, non-negotiable protocol. Step 1 is admitting the pain. This is your data audit. Real gratitude does not ignore the wound. It's not positive thinking. Positive thinking is delusion a lot of the time. It says everything's fine, but the house is burning. Forged gratitude admits this is fucking hell. This hurts. Maybe this is even unjust. You have to be honest about the pain to find the power in it. If you suppress the pain, you can't transmute it. So step 1 is the intel report. I'm bleeding. The asset is gone. This sucks. Step 2 is finding the forged asset. This is your extraction. You will, either on paper or out loud, find one thing you are grateful for, as a result of the pain. Don't write down like, I'm grateful for my coffee. That's weak. Find something forged in the fire. Some examples of this could be like, from my own experience, I'm grateful I learned who my real friends are. Or I'm grateful I found my physical limits because now I know where to build. Or I'm grateful this failure revealed a flaw in my operating system that I can now fix. Another one could be, I'm grateful for the man I'm becoming because of this. You're mining the trauma for utility. And step 3 is to testify. Because this will act as your narrative override. You must say it out loud. This is your testimony. You're speaking a new reality into existence. But why out loud? Because the voice of bitterness is loud in your head. The voice of gratitude must be louder. Because you're reminding the darkness that it has no hold on you. You're choosing as an act of will to build. I am not a victim of this divorce. I am the architect of the life that comes after it. I am not a failure because of this bankruptcy. I am a student of the market who just paid a high tuition. A little more than 2 years ago, I was on my kitchen floor. A victim. A ghost. Today, I'm here. Forged. The only difference was the daily fucking brutal work of executing this protocol. I want to zoom out for a moment. I mentioned that this started in November of 2023. That month is also Movember, a month where I was a proud ambassador last year fighting to stop men from dying too young. We talk about men dying from cancer. We talk about men dying from heart disease. But we need to talk about the men dying from silence. The men dying from bitterness. The men dying because they reached a point of system failure and saw no way to reboot. And as of this recording, a real-time, truly unfortunate example of this is the football player Rondale Moore just committed suicide, I believe via a self-inflicted gunshot wound. at 25 years old. Just think about that. 25 years old. You're in the NFL. You're making a ton of money. He was objectively a very handsome, very fit man. He seemed to have it all. But there was something missing. And that darkness permanently outshined his light. My own resurrection started on November 1st, 2023. And that began with the choice to live. So the gratitude I'm talking about today, it's not just about feeling better. It's a gratitude for life itself. It's the fuel to fight. When you're in the pit, the easiest thing to do is to let the darkness win, to remain on the floor, to drink the poison, to numb the pain, to die slowly, or like that in Rondale's case, while your heart is still beating. Forged gratitude is the ultimate act of defiance. It's looking at the fire that was sent to burn you alive and saying, fuck you. No, you will not burn me. You will fuel me. It's the choice to see the fire not as your end, but as your beginning. This is the deepest, most powerful part of the resurrection. So here's the briefing. If you're on your own floor right now, if you're trapped in a prison of bitterness and resentment, if you're successful on paper but dying in spirit, just like it appears Rondale Moore was, this is the key. This is the way out. You have a choice to make. You can continue to be a victim of your past, or you can start being the architect of your future. So if you're ready to stop grieving what you lost and start forging who you are, I invite you to file your intel report. Let's be clear, though. This isn't a sales call. It's a tactical briefing. We'll diagnose your prison. We'll identify the system drag of bitterness. And we'll forge the first key to get you out. Go to coachcoos.com. Click apply. Stop waiting to feel gratitude. Choose to be grateful. Choose to fight. Because by being alive, you have the opportunity to win. I am Acusio Bavona, and I'll see you in the work.